Hey everyone, welcome back with Being on Mac, where today we're going to continue our playthrough of Nickelodeon Kart Racers. This is our third Grand Prix here. We're going to be doing the Pineapple Cup here. And, I'm my usual SpongeBob, and of course this is a two-player run through here, so we're joined by my good buddy here, Sulu64.
I don't want to conquer this planet. I want to conquer Earth.
Yeah, so he's playing as our boy Raphael here. I guess we're just not going to change our characters at any point, and that's fine, the name recognition here. And that was a whole load of nonsense that would just happen where I didn't make that jump, but I don't know, I guess we're going to move on with it. That said, though, folks, we're just going to jump straight into the question of the day here. So, what is the question of the day here? What is the best era of Nickelodeon? Of course, there's a few eras that you can go with. There's the 90s where you had the Rugrats and the Dougs and the Rocko's Modern Lives and stuff like that. You could go with the early 2000s era with like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron. You could go late 2000s as well, where it was kind of more focused, I feel like, on like the live action stuff, like Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious and stuff like that. But they also had a few cartoons that just probably weren't really given any chance to kind of shine, like that Tough Puppy.
You really want to give Fanboy and Chum Chum a time to shine?
Hey, it was there, it had its fans, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Tough Puppy. I mean, maybe Danny Phantom. I think it's kind of like in the middle of like early, and it's like mid 2000s, I think it was. Then you had like 2010s era. You had Sanjay and Craig, which everybody said was like the regular show ripoff. You had what was it? Oh yeah, the Loud House. That was extremely popular with the youngins of that era. It's not my favorite era because I never watched it, so I mean those are the only ones I can really list for you. But there's a few different eras of Nickelodeon. Heck, if you want the modern day era of whatever the heck's going on with here, I know they got that show Rock, Paper, Scissors or something like that. I do know, that they got the all day, everyday SpongeBob Marathon, which is nonsense because it's not all day and not every day, because they put other shows in there, so blatant false advertising there. Somebody needs to sue Nickelodeon for that. But
I mean, Patrick Star Show is basically SpongeBob. It's just a spin-off.
I mean, I get that, but like I know they had like that Rock, Paper, Scissors show, and I think there was like other shows that they have, but I can't remember. I mean, I never watched them. But that said, I mean, I'm probably gonna have to go with the early 2000s. I said that was when I was growing up, so Fairly Odd Parents was a pretty decent show in my opinion. Lots of memorable episodes and memeable characters. Dinkelberg. Jimmy Neutron, some of my favorites. I would probably put Avatar: The Last Airbender into like the mid 2000s.
The boulder regrets beating up a small child.
Yeah, definitely. Which we are gonna play those Avatar games at some point on the channel too. So hopefully they're not a whole grand pile of poop. But we'll have to see. What would you have to say, Super Lou 64? What's your favorite era of Nickelodeon?
I feel like 2000s is good. It was basically a last continuation of the 90s, but they have like really weird ideas in there. Obviously, there was the Invader Zim and the Shock Zone and the Jimmy Neutron. SpongeBob was at its peak.
We also can't forget about Rocket Power.
Oh yeah, Rocket Power. Because, yeah, 99 is basically early 2000s, such as it's guaranteed to run into that time frame.
I don't know. I thought that debuted in 2000, but I guess I could be wrong. But I mean, it does make sense because I feel like I think the 90s was kind of like the peak of like those extreme sports kind of trend that was going on at the time. You know, you had the skateboarding, the roller derby or whatever. I don't know what the heck. I was born in 99, folks. Give me a break here. But, you know, I say that like bicycles and cycling and stuff like that and doing tricks. You know, if it had a ramp in it or some sort of, you know, rail or something like that, it was an extreme sport. You know, disc golf, of course, that's the most extreme of sports out there. So, you know, I don't know. I think it's funny just the show that they had to just kind of capitalize on that, and now nobody really remembers it.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
But they definitely had, like I said, even Rocket Power had like a pretty unique animation style, and you know, Chalk Zone. I think that's an underrated show in my opinion. You know, it's something that wouldn't really work in the modern day because, oddly enough, like there's just not chalkboards anymore in modern schools. But
yeah, the whiteboard epidemic kind of took those over.
Yeah, which overall is better because everybody hates nails on a chalkboard sound, and everybody, even just like the actual writing on like a chalkboard, the chalk against it, like it's making me uncomfortable just thinking about it. But the show itself, Chalk Zone, I thought it was pretty awesome, pretty clever, but I know a lot of people also just say it was lame, so I don't know. What do you guys think down below? I definitely, you know, so what is the best era of Nickelodeon? Comment down below. Alright, so let's see here. We're in first place, so I'm liking my chances here. I've been losing to Super Lou in the last 2 episodes, but this time, things are going to be different, buddy. Things are going to be different, I'm telling you. Alright, yeah, that's not a good time to run my mouth, I guess, because I just got passed.
Yeah, definitely. So the Carver's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, we'll see there, buddy. We'll see. It's actually a pretty cool map from what I've seen so far. I really like the area where, you know, right here where you got the jellyfish and stuff like that. I don't know what the heck SpongeBob's doing in the air, though. That's kind of crazy. But I feel like this game has like a mix of like maps that are actually really cool and really inspired. Like this one's really awesome, I think. But then they also just have the ones where like there's not really much of a map that you can see because it's just kind of covered in slime.
Yeah, and even then, those are, if I believe correctly, just pre-existing tracks with the slime put over them.
Yeah, see, I can't really tell, but I think you might be right. But we'll see. Okay, how did I just get completely turned over like that? What just happened?
Raphael built different.
I guess so. I mean, that literally cost me that. I might not even make it in second place here.
SpongeBob just had to turn around, you know, he had to find his name tag.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Jeez, man, these guys are kind of kicking my butt now. Even with the boost, they just keep passing me by. Alright. Yeah, honestly, this probably is the best track in the game so far, in my opinion. Yeah, what is SpongeBob doing? He's just kind of floating above his cart there.
I don't think you want to question it any further. Might be some strange answers from the commenter. Not gonna pluralize here.
Yeah, I just think there's just an odd amount of Mrs. Puff's boating signs in here. There's like 6 of them. But I gotta say, as far as this track goes, atmosphere. That's what it's got. Future. Alright, so that's one in the book for me, Mr. Subaru. Alright, now we got the Hillwood Slime Rush. Have you seen this pic? Looks like an Arnold map. Once again, it's so weird to me. They have like this Nickelodeon thing and they only have 4 franchises represented. Like even if they had like other parts, like kart pieces or tracks or something like that that reference other properties, it's just so weird to me that they didn't do that. Like they just wanted to stick within these 4 specific Nicktoons in this era. You know, it's very interesting to me.
I mean, this game doesn't even have Squidward in it, so I feel like that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen Squidward's house, you know, better than nothing. So yeah, that said, this is one of those tracks I was talking about. I kind of like these ideas they have where this racetrack you have to stay within the arrows, right? So like if I were to go outside of these arrows in the direction that they aren't pointing in, then I would get a red X and my circles beneath my slime boost bar, as you can see. And if it gets filled up with 5, I'm out. It doesn't matter how good I'm doing in the race. It doesn't matter, you know, if I'm in first or not. I'm just automatically disqualified. And I think that's a really cool mechanic. You know, like I said, I feel like that has to be in some other game. Like, I'd be pretty surprised if that was created in this game. But regardless, I mean, it's just really it's a nice change of pace from the regular race, you know, because you have to have a little bit of strategy, and honestly, you might have to make some crazy turns and risk it a little bit for the biscuit in order to, you know, maintain your position in the race. Sometimes you might not have that ability, so you got to think of and pick and choose which ones you'd want to, you know, disobey and get an X in. And, you know, obviously still try and maintain your position first and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I definitely like it, the concept here. I think my favorite one, though, is probably the elimination races. I think that's just a really fun idea that they implemented. But I don't know. What's your favorite kind of race? You prefer the regular ones, the eliminations, or the arrow races that we got going on?
The arrow races are definitely the most unique. I guess it's also got like a bit of F-Zero going on there with the elimination races.
So is that where that stuff kind of originated from?
Yeah, basically. It's sort of that was a thing in old racing games a ton though, where it was like, I think even the first 2 or 3 Mario Kart games before Double Dash, the whole thing was like, if you didn't finish above 3rd place, you just had to start over. And you only had a limited amount of tries.
I can get that, but like, that's finishing the race. I like the idea how, like, in certain races, they actually, you know, after the first lap, people start getting eliminated every, like, 20 or 15 seconds or something like that. But yeah, it's interesting that they've taken from Nintendo games, you know, kart racers and stuff like that. And F-Zero obviously is not a kart racer, but, you know, one of the bigger franchises for racing back in the early years.
I mean, yeah, they're kind of karts. We don't really know what they are. They're just kind of classified as machines.
Well, I think they're just, you know, just futuristic racing cars, you know. Hovercrafts or something? Hover cars? I don't know. Alright, we got Journey Through Dimension X.
At least it's not Chemical X.
So what, you would think this would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It has to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nothing aesthetically lines up with this.
You sure this wouldn't be something from, you know, Rugrats?
No, they had some weird dream sequences, but like never this weird.
I don't know. We got, it could be a SpongeBob one. It looks like we got some coral going on here.
I think those are like trees.
Yeah, trees for SpongeBob. Coral bits.
I love fried oyster skin.
Yeah, I gotta check this out. Yeah, it looks like Dimension X is actually TMNT. So it's apparently an alternate dimension in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe known for warped physics and bizarre, dangerous environments. And I guess it's the primary home realm for Krang. Or, I don't know, I guess it's spelled with double A. They really need it. Google needed to specify that it is 2 A's for Krang, interestingly enough. And a frequent staging ground for extraterrestrial threats across various TMNT series. So yeah, guess it is TMNT. I think it makes for a really cool track though, I'll give them that, you know. I think, like I said, like the ones that aren't just generic school or whatever, I think are actually really cool tracks, you know? Like Dimension X seems pretty cool, and the Pineapple Cup just kind of has the best tracks, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense SpongeBob gets a bias even in the kart racer.
Well, I feel like each show can theoretically produce a pretty good, you know, area that you can race in, you know? I mean, bikini... Like, for example, you know, let's come up with, like, 4 tracks you can come up with for each series. You know, SpongeBob, obviously, Bikini Bottom. We'll just count that as the one that we had at the beginning of this series. You know, I think another one could be, like, a cool Krusty Krab, Chum Bucket themed... Okay, I don't even know what just happened there. I literally went up the ramp and I just didn't make it twice.
I mean, there's always Goo Lagoon, though.
Yeah, Goo Lagoon would be a pretty cool track. Although I guess it would just kind of be in a way like a generic beach level when you think about it, but I think a really cool one would be like the Monster Trench, you know, from the movie. That would be a really awesome track. But yeah, I mean, I think those would be some pretty awesome track ideas. TMNT, I think, you know, I think they already have the sewers. They have the Dimension X, which is pretty cool. I think just like, you know, going through Brooklyn and it's right. That's where they're all from.
Yeah, somewhere in New York. You can always throw the Technodrome.
Yeah. So there's a few cool tracks. I just cannot catch a break with these freaking jumps here. This track, man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Rugrats. You could always do. Maybe they could expand on that whole Euro Reptar land or whatever it was called from the Paris movie.
That's true. I know they did that. The issue with the Rugrats tracks in this game is that they all kind of seem very similar. Like the last one we did in the last Grand Prix, I thought was really cool. You know, the Reptar land. But then like they always have like the same track design, in which like it has like the baby, you know, placemats and Aztecs and stuff like that. And I get it, but like, you know, kind of differentiate a little bit, you know? I think a cool one would be just literally, you know, a big circle and you're driving around like their playpen or something like that while they're just kind of messing around in the background. I think that'd be an awesome track. Maybe you just kind of go through the whole Rugrats house. That'd be a pretty cool track.
Yeah.
That said, folks, it seems like we've run out of time for this channel, so thank you so much for watching and enjoying my victory, hopefully. Above all else, though, you know, check out next week's episode, and above all else, please remember to have a nice day.
You finally won this time.